Good evening. It's officially evening and we are in the tech track. Really looking forward to the brilliance that we have planned for the next hour and a half. Now, do remember you can contact me in the chat at any point if you do have any questions. Evening, we are being joined by Lisa Carpenter. Say hi, Lisa, and do just literally turn your camera on. Wonderful. So thank you for joining us this evening,
Thank
Lisa.
you for having me.
Yeah, it's been good. Right, so over to you.
Thank you. So, I don't know how to follow that amazing talk we just had, but I will do my best. So, we're going to be looking at Python today, and we're going to do a little bit of hands-on playing as well. So, hopefully, you can now see my screen. So, I'm Lisa, and I work as a data science coach at a company called Condell. And so I really spend a lot of my time helping people get to grips with Python, SQL, and also some of the softer skills in data analysis. But today, let's focus on Python. So first of all, I'm going to talk about why, and not why you should learn Python, but about finding your own why. And then we're going to talk about the 7 simple syntax rules of Python. There's only 7. They're super simple, and pretty much anyone can learn Python once they've got to grips with those rules. And then hopefully we're going to have a play. I've got a workbook I'm going to share the link with you for, and you're going to be able to hopefully play along, test out those 7 simple rules. And then we're going to talk a little bit about the how. Obviously, in 20 minutes, half an hour, I can't teach you all of Python, unfortunately, but we're going to talk briefly about those next steps. Brilliant. So first of all, the why. And this is about finding your motivation, finding what's really going to help you learn. And I think a lot of people have a general goal like, oh, I'm going to learn a new language, I'm going to learn Python, I'm going to do this. But unless you really find the thing that makes you want to do that, it's going to be quite difficult. So maybe it's that you're hoping to start a new career. Maybe you'd like to become a Python developer. Maybe you have an amazing idea for an app or a site or something you'd like to build, and actually developing those Python skills yourself would help you make that a reality. Maybe you work with data. I'm a little bit biased towards Python for data because that's my background and that's where I come from. Um, but yeah, Python is brilliant for working with data. So if that's something you do and you want to learn better ways of working with it, then Python is absolutely brilliant for that. Mostly Python is about solving problems and building solutions. So once you know what your problem is and what your solution is, it gives you a better starting point for really learning Python, because you're no longer learning it for some weird abstract reason. You're learning it to create, to build, to make something. And it's once you found that project or that goal that can really help you in developing your Python skills. So 7 simple syntax rules for mastering Python. There's a really badly drawn wine glass in the corner. And these 7 simple rules come from a discussion I had with my friend in the pub. They were trying to learn Python and really struggling. And I was like, no, 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 it's really easy. And I got a napkin and a pen and I drew out the core things that I felt they needed to really understand Python. And that's how these 7 simple rules came about. And my friend went on to successfully kind of master Python and started to really enjoy the journey they were on. So I'm going to share with you, napkin style, the 7 simple rules to the syntax of Python. And Python is a little bit like Lego. Once you learn these simple syntax rules, they really do let you build anything you want. So master these and everything else is really achievable. Brilliant. So number 1, to create something, and you can see I've literally drawn these as if it was on the back of a napkin. To create something, we do the name of the thing, and then we do an equal sign, and then we do the thing itself. So we're committing a thing to memory, and we're giving it a name, and we're using that equal sign to denote we're creating something. And this is true no matter what type of object we are creating. So that's the first simple rule. Create something using an equal sign. Give it a name, tell Python what the thing itself is. And you will see some examples of this in action afterwards as well. But that's rule number 1. Rule number 2, if you want to re-access the thing you just created, you simply use its name of thing. That will bring back exactly the object that you have just created. We give something a name, we use its name to access it. Super simple. So they're the first 2 rules. Make something, access it. Third simple rule, we can access a whole thing, or we can access a little bit of a thing. And if we only want to access a little bit of a thing, we use square brackets. Again, we still use the name of the thing, but now we're going to use square brackets at the end. And we're going to describe to Python the bit that we want. And there's several different ways we can do that, and we will take a look at some of them. But by doing the name of the thing and then square brackets and putting a little bit of a descriptor inside, we can just get back a little bit of a thing. Nice and simple so far. Number 4, we might want to do something selectively. These are often called control flows. So this could be an if statement, a for loop, or just something where maybe we want to do it lots of times, or we only want to do it if something is true. To do this, we have 2 elements. The colon at the end. We need a colon here, and then we need indentation. And it's this colon and this indentation that is going to tell Python to do something according to the rule that we've put up here. So if we want Python to do something selectively, it's a colon and it's 4 spaces or a tab, like so. So that's rule 4, super simple. Rule 5, sometimes we want to do something to our thing. And the syntax for this, super simple. We have the name of the thing we want to do, and then brackets, and these are just round normal brackets. And then in those brackets, we put the name of the thing that we want to do that thing to. So for example, if I wanted to print out my statement, I would do print, bracket, and then the name of my thing in those brackets. That would print out the value of the name of my thing. Super simple. I promise you there isn't a 7th rule, which is suddenly like just learn all this other syntax. It is this straightforward. The other thing we might want to do is access a special thing that an object can do to itself. So something a thing can do to itself. Here we have name of thing again. Now we have a dot, and then we have the thing we want it to do. And then we always end on brackets here. Even if there's no arguments, if we're accessing a method by a dot, we need these brackets. Number 5 is referring to a function. So thing to do is our function, name of thing is our object to act that function on. Down here, we have what we call a method. This is a method of the name of thing. So the 7th rule, super simple as well. 7th rule is that when we create an object, the nature of that object defines what it is. Python is what we call dynamically typed. So it picks up what type of object it is based on what you give it. So if I say name of thing equals and then just the number 2, it's going to create that in memory as a number. If we say name of thing equals and then a 2 in quote marks, it's going to create a string. And if we say name of thing equals and then square brackets, different square brackets to when we just want to access a little bit of a thing, these are on the right-hand side of the equal sign. So the rules over this side are a little bit different. But if we do square brackets and then lots of different things separated by commas, then we're making a list. So that's the 7 simple rules for Python syntax. And that is it. They are the fundamentals that underlie every single bit of Python syntax you can see. They might be layered together, they might be nested inside each other, there might be a little bit more going on. But fundamentally, if you can understand that having the name of an object in brackets and the name of a function first, or the name of your object, then a dot, then the name of your method, then you can learn Python. That's really all there is to it. So we're now going to go over to Google Collaboratory, which is a free service from Google that lets you dynamically run Python notebooks in the cloud. So you don't need to install Python, you don't need to do anything except have a Google account. And it can run on pretty much any PC, which makes it pretty perfect. I'm going to pop that link into chat for you all, just on a different screen, so apologies for looking away. So if you would like to download the workbook, I've just popped the link into chat. But here's one I prepared earlier. So please do click that link, download it, and play along as well. At this point, you might also want to click on the screen, get rid of my face, just focus on the screen so that you can read the text. So now we're going to go through those 7 simple rules. If you do click the link yourself, you might need to click the download button or save to drive, and that will let you play along as well. So the first thing, I told you that to create an object, we do the name of the thing and then we tell it what it is. And that's exactly what we're doing here. So name underscore of underscore thing. There's our equal sign. And I've just put Heya Ada's conference. If I hit play, it's now going to run this for me. And it doesn't do anything. I'm just committing something to memory. I'm saying, hey, Python, please remember for me that name of thing is equal to Heya Ada's conference. Super simple. So in its memory, it now has that thing. The first time you click play, it might take a little while because it's going to connect to a kernel up here. The next thing is that to access something, we just call it by its name. So here I've got name of thing. If I hit play, it's going to go ahead, run that, and just show me what name of thing was. So it's returning Heya Ada's conference. Super simple. Now the next rule, rule 3, access a little bit of a thing. We don't want the full thing. We would just like part of it. Part of a string goes back to its characters. So I can ask Python to return characters for me. So here I've got 5:8. I'm asking it to start with character 5 and go up to character 8. So if I hit play, it's going to just return Ada. So one thing that Python does do, which is a little bit strange, starts counting from 0. So if I ask it for name of thing 0, I'm asking it to give me a little bit of itself and to give me what's sat in position 0. It's going to give me a H because H is that first element. I could ask it to give me the first 10 elements by doing something like this. And it's going to do that like so. So I can ask Python to give me a little bit of something by pulling in what that thing is in here. Like so. It weirdly only goes up to and doesn't include the last number you put in. But that, again, like starting from 0, is something you just get used to. So the next thing is that we can ask Python to do something selectively. This is what we call control flow. And one of the examples I'm going to do here is ask it to do something multiple times for every item we have in our name of thing. So we call this a for loop. And you can see here for number 4, we have for monkey butt in name of thing, print monkey butt. And monkey butt, as I hope you can tell, is not a Python keyword. Sorry, I'm just checking the chat as we go. Python, does not have monkey butt as a keyword. That would be a very strange keyword. The reason I've used monkey butt here is this is not a special keyword. It can be any word you like. We could have used for Asia conference. We could have used literally anything within this section. It's just a placeholder so that each time it loops through, it uses this. So if I run this, it's going to selectively go through each thing in name of thing. And there we go. It prints out each letter on its own. So that's rule number 4. We use the colon and the indents when we want to selectively do something within Python. Rule number 5, if we want to get Python to do something for us, we tell it the name of the thing we want to do and then the name of the thing to do it at. So if I want it to print out, that doesn't mean print to an actual printer, just means print on the screen. So if I do print, name of my thing, hit play, it's just going to print out the name of my thing. I use print in the same way up here to get it to print each letter as well. Here, I'm doing rule number 6, which is accessing a little something special that it can do. So something a string can do is return the uppercase version of itself. So we do the name of the thing, then the dot, the name of the thing we want to do, and then we do brackets. Sometimes we put things in the brackets, sometimes we don't. For uppercase, we don't need to put anything in the brackets. Click play, and you can see that my string has now changed to uppercase. And then rule 7, things take the shape of what you tell it. So this is a whole number, is 2. So Python's going to know this is a whole number. This is a float number, 2.5. This is a string. You see we've got quote marks in here. So even though 2 is a number, it's going to save it as a string because I've put those quote marks in. List goes into square brackets. We've also got something called a tuple. It's exactly the same as a list, except you can't change it once you've made it unless you override it. I just love the word tuple, to be honest. It's a super cute little word. But yeah, so I've linked to this workbook. You can have a play, try changing things up and give it a go. But really, Python is this simple. In just half an hour, there wasn't too much Python I could show you. But these really are the 7 steps that amount to any Python. No matter what it is you're building, these steps are always the same. So if you do want to learn Python, there's lots of different ways that you can do so. I would always say, remember your goal. Keep that goal in mind. There's lots of online courses. There's so many out there, hugely saturated. There's lots of free ones as well. So you don't necessarily need one of the really expensive ones. If you can, go specific. So if your goal is to learn how to create games, then find one that's Python for games. If you're a data person and you want to do Python for data science, there's so many different courses out there for that. But yeah, I would say always keep that goal and that project in mind. Practice, of course, always makes it easier. I really recommend a website called codewars.com. It lets you do unit tested examples and challenges and problems. It's so much fun. You level up and get to do more and more difficult challenges. Also, finding a mentor really helps. Ada's is a brilliant place to find a mentor or just someone that can help you with your coding. I really recommend teaching. I found that when I started to teach Python, my skills really developed, really grew, and I became a lot more confident with the Python. People asked me amazing questions that made me really think. And then last slide, hi Ashanti.
Hey, Lisa.
Um, my company does structured, guided, tailored 18-month part of part of your employment government funded data analytics programs, which are really fun. Yeah. So if you're interested, they're super fun programs. Oh, and I've got all the URLs.
Sorry if I literally made you jump there,
No,
Lisa.
it's all good. It's all good. I can see that time is ticking on. We don't want to be late for the next talk.
Yeah,
So
but brilliant. Thank you so much
that
for
was
your time this
so
evening.
quick.
How did you find it?
Good fun. I'm really passionate about sharing a Python with everyone. I think it's such an amazing tool and so empowering when you can just make
Yes.
the computer do everything for you.
Yeah,
Um,
absolutely. Well, thank you so much for your time this
no, thank you,
evening. And I
everyone.
know everybody really enjoyed that. So, what we're going to do now is present off. So, I'm going
Yeah,
to turn the presentation off so that you can move rooms if you wish to visit some other tracks of content, which is fun. So, remember, use the little doors to go through to maybe restructure and sustainability or career. If you want to stay in the tech room with us tech enthusiasts, then please do hang about, network until we start the next presentation. Speak soon.